Thanks for joining me for Empowerment and All That, your favorite podcast for female empowerment. I'm your host, Rita Bautista, and I make sure to deliver some motivational tips and inspirational stories from women with diverse backgrounds. Stay tuned for the next show. Hey guys, it's Rita here. I wanted to give you a little quick background on why I started podcasting and continue doing it to this day. So I am actually using Anchor.fm to record this podcast because it's free. One of the best parts about it is that they give you the creation tools that allow you to record and edit the podcast right from my phone or the computer. Anchor also distributes it for me, which is really cool because it makes it so much easier for me, and I can be heard anywhere from Spotify, Apple Podcast, and so many more. You can also make money from the podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So what are you waiting for? Download the Anchor app now. All right, guys, I'm back. I know it's been a while, but happy 2020 to everybody. You guys, quick update. I made it to 3,000 downloads for the episode so far, and it's insane because literally I haven't posted anything since probably November. So I want to tell everybody out there that you guys have been such amazing supporters of the podcast, of my Instagram page at Empowerment and All That, and really just following along with me in this journey of continuing to record and put episodes out there. I decided to rebrand and change the podcast picture, updated the website. I wanted to really decide that for 2020, I'm going to level up. Now, let me tell you why. I did start a community called Latina Podcasters on Facebook. So at first, I didn't think anybody was really going to join. And you guys, in 2 months, like 200 plus people have joined the private group. And the Instagram page is up to 850 people in less than 2 months. So it's been so amazing to watch this journey. In less than 2 months, I've been able to connect with extraordinary women all over the country and the world who are podcasting and doing workshops, and they're connecting me with some more amazing people in the podcasting arena. So because of that, I had to take on really thinking about what the angle or the direction in which the podcast is going to go next year or this year. Sorry, we're already here, right? And interestingly enough, every week on the podcast group, Latina Podcasters, we come up with a theme. So it's myself and my co-founder, Nicole Hernandez, and we kind of tag team it, or sometimes we'll come up with our own. And this week's podcasting theme was con ganas. And for those of you who speak Spanish or know Spanish, con ganas means to have the willpower, the desire. Some people would say passion. Ganas also means like how much do you earn? So it's a word that can be used in so many different ways. But in this context, hacerlo con ganas is to put your desire or your will out there, to do it with all your might, even when you don't have the energy to do it. So I decided that for 2020, I'm going to continue to work on the podcast. I'm relaunching in February, and I will be going back to podcasting more frequently, but now I'm going to go bi-weekly instead of every week on Wednesday. I'll be continuing to share some amazing tips and growth opportunities, motivational stories from different women all around the country and the world, really, and just bringing you a very diverse podcast, something that you can really kind of see people from different walks of life, women who are just doing such amazing things, even men who have different topics related to women that women would be interested in hearing. I just recently had my friend Charles Corprew on the show about 2 months ago, about a month and a half ago, and he's a doctor of personal development and psychology. And so he just gives such great perspective because he has a podcast as well that's all about male masculinity. And when him and I are on the episodes together, it's just a lot of fun. The other episode I really, really, really enjoyed was with Lieutenant Kelly Hall, who's about to compete for Miss California in like a week. And so, this podcast has really just given me the opportunity to connect with some really great people. And I want to give a huge thank you out to everybody who is listening, because you guys have been sending me such inspirational messages. I mean, I've had people from high school that I haven't seen in years tell me that that my podcast has really kind of given them some perspective and light on different issues and things like that, which has been really awesome. I've had people that I've never met before that have sent me messages through Instagram that are just like, thank you so much. Your tips were pretty inspiring, or it really motivated me to get off my behind and start doing something. Or what a unique story from your podcaster who went and crossed the border to go help immigrants on the other side of Mexico, on the other side of the border in Mexico. And, to me, truthfully, and I think this goes for pretty much all podcasters who are not technically professional podcasters, we don't really think anybody's listening, which I think is the funniest thing, right? You put your voice on a microphone and then you upload it, and you don't really think that anybody's paying attention, but apparently there are a lot of people paying attention. And I have obviously about 90% of my listenership comes from the United States, but the podcast is now diversifying all over the world, which was one of my missions to begin with. And I cannot even explain to you how exciting that is to know that there are people in India, in the Dominican Republic, in Haiti, in Ireland. Shout out to my friends out in Ireland. You know who you are. Europe, the UK, everywhere. I mean, people are listening, and it's just really exciting because, like I said, when you start a podcast, you don't necessarily know whether one person or 10,000 people are going to listen to you. And the simple fact that you guys are listening, it really it warms my heart. It makes me feel like I owe it to you guys to make sure I'm putting out a better quality product for you. So, 3 tips that I'm using right now to jumpstart my 2020. Obviously, as I mentioned, one of them is going to make sure that I'm working on leveling up and leveling up in all aspects of my life. One being, the podcast, making sure that everything that I do podcast-wise is not only to level up my podcast, but also because I'm creating this community, I want to set an example for those who are coming after me. And I want to also empower other women to do the same. I'm really excited and lucky because I just decided, I was asked to sit on a panel of 150 young Latinas in DC. And these young women are, they come from such different backgrounds. And the purpose of the panel is to be able to give them insight on diverse career opportunities or in creativity, and allowing them to be able to use podcasting in a space where it allows for them to start developing career choices and also skills and talents before they even maybe start college. Maybe they want to be broadcasters, or maybe they want to start podcasting, because the truth of the matter is the direction in which podcasting is going right now. Radio is going to have a lot of competition, but there's a lot of opportunity for people, and I'm super excited and extremely, extremely happy to be part of this panel. It's the first one where I'll actually be addressing high school students close to the area which I was raised in, Baltimore. I know Baltimore and DC people always have that rift between them, but it's just exciting to see that I can actually give back to the community in that area that I have such fond memories about. So for 2020, I'm definitely using the word leveling up and making sure that for everything that I do, I'm going to put my best foot forward. So that comes to the other tip that I'm going to give you to jumpstart your 2020, and it's the one that I hate the most. Believe it or not, for a person who accomplishes so much, you'd be surprised how much I cannot stand doing goal setting. And I have a mentor right now who is an entrepreneur. She's insanely amazing, a Canadian friend of mine. her favorite thing in the world is to goal set. And I swear if she could set goals for people to fold their laundry, she would totally do it. She is an awesome, just great mentor, friend, role model. I love this woman so much. She has been such a godsend over the last couple of months. And truthfully, if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't be considering goal setting as much as I needed to. And I have been, and I've been working on it. And I've been working on goal setting so much that I now, funny enough, I really wanted a whiteboard for my house, for my apartment. Shockingly enough, I cannot stand the way a whiteboard looks. And I'm like, I don't want a whiteboard in my house. I want to make a whiteboard, a fancy, pretty whiteboard that can go in my house or whatever. And I mean, it was funny because her and I and her husband even sat back and were like, okay, let's do some research on these fancy whiteboards because you're going to need something in your place. Well, I went to dinner with another mentor of mine who is a sports agent, and he told me when I was telling him about this whiteboard, and he's like, well, why don't you make it and sell it? Or instead of doing all that, just buy a dry erase board and write on your mirrors and your windows and your sliding door. And I was like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? So if you come to my apartment right now, you're going to think I'm absolutely batshit crazy, but I have written all of my daily schedule on my mirror in my bathroom. I have positive quotes all over the mirror in the bathroom. I have my goals, my 10-year plan, my massive major goal is something that I look at every single morning when I brush my teeth. So I'm visualizing these things and I'm seeing them, and I see my schedule, and I see it's not down to the minute. It's not that intense, but at least I know that I can see my goal right in front of me every single morning, and I'm ready to monopolize on my goals. I'm ready to push them forward. I'm ready to do what I need to do. I've brushed my teeth. My mouth is so fresh and so clean, and I'm going to tackle on the world. I guarantee you, if you take a dry erase marker to the mirror that's right in front of in your bathroom, and you write a positive message and your goal for the day, I can guarantee you will accomplish it. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, I've been crushing it ever since. So I've written all over my sliding door. I'm pretty sure my neighbors think I'm absolutely crazy, but that's okay. I mean, who doesn't think I'm crazy? It's cool. I'm used to it now. But anyway, goal setting has definitely been one of the things that's helped me jumpstart. And I started 2020 way before 2020. I started 2020 and 2019. I started probably way back in September, October. I'd been really looking at my life as a whole, and, you know, I had some challenges in October. And even with those, I was like, you know what? Whatever comes out of this, whatever the outcome is genuinely out of this, I am going to still be who I am. And because of that, I'm just going to keep pushing forward. And, you know, in the past, I used to fall and it would take me forever to get back up or whatever. But luckily, I have some really good friendships around me right now. I have great coping mechanisms that I've created that really kind of help me check myself when I feel like I'm getting to this point of like, I might be going down, or I'm getting sad or whatever. Obviously, I still feel my emotions, but I continue my meditation and my yoga practice, which definitely helps me recenter and focus. So that's definitely something that has been a part of my life that I know when I get too far away from that, I can definitely feel the difference. And that's actually one of my other jump starts to 2020, which is an ode to my health. You know, last year I turned 25. But I feel like I'm 25. I turned 35, and one of my favorite things was going to get my checkup with my doctor. And, you know, he pulled my screen, he did all of my tests and, you know, checked my blood and everything. And he was like, you are ridiculously healthy. It is awesome. And I'm like, wow, that's great. You know, that really is exciting to hear that, you know, that I've just been on the great track with, you know, taking care of myself and being in good shape and just being healthy. I still like my cocktails because who doesn't? But, even with 1 or 2 or 3 or whenever, I don't drink nearly as much as I used to before, but even with, my cocktails and enjoying myself, occasionally having some really good crawfish, which it's about to be crawfish season again, and I'll be paying $10 a pound here in Texas, which is heartbreaking. But even with all of that, I'm still very, very healthy, and, my mindset's very healthy. My heart is getting healthy. My everything is just like on the right track for, giving a good ode and a good nod to my health and my life, which, I've basically put these building blocks in place. I didn't grow up being taught to exercise or eating super healthy or doing any of these things. But one of my grandiose goals is to make it to 100 years old. And a lot of people are always like, why do you want to be 100? I say, because it gives me the opportunity to meet so many people in life, but I get to see 10 decades of change. And if I want to get there, I need to make sure that I'm staying on track with my health. So, forcing myself sometimes out of the couch, but at the same time, I have, like I said, I enjoy yoga. I enjoy being healthy and making good choices. And so, it's part of my life. So, I make sure to just give myself a nod on my health. And, I guarantee you, if you try, even if it's something simple as like drinking 8 ounces of water, 10 glasses of 8 ounces of water a day, 5 days a week, something as simple as that can really jumpstart your health. And it's really just about getting in momentum and getting that momentum started. Because once you get one thing off the ground, then you get the next thing off the ground and you just keep going, It's like the snowball effect. The last thing, and I want to say this because, like I said, goal setting, pain in the butt, but it's important. Making sure you're healthy, pain in the butt, but it's important. The last one is having realistic expectations of myself. I think in life in general, I've always had some pretty high expectations of everything. And I also forget that just because I've been able to push through and accomplish a lot of things in my life doesn't necessarily mean that every single person around me can do the same. And so I've kind of learned to be a little more forgiving of myself, and I'm still working on being more forgiving of others as well. It's not, I'm not the best at being understanding, but I'm working on it. And so with that being said, having realistic expectations of the things that I'm doing and not challenging myself to go way above and beyond. With my goals that I have set in place for this year, they're pretty big. And one of them, which I'm really excited about and I talked about earlier, is the Latina podcast community. I want to continue to grow that. Luckily, we have a partnership that I can't wait to talk about. I'm super excited to announce it. We were asked to participate in an event in October, in Orlando. And, for something that just got started 2 months ago, I've already been asked to be part of 3 different things to represent the community. To me, it's something that's showing a lot of momentum, and it's all been on its own. The good things in life come to you without you having to force them. Because anything that's forced is not naturally supposed to be something for you. Now, this is a lesson that I've learned over and over again in my life. But because the fact that Latina Podcasters is growing at the rate that it's growing and we're seeing such positive feedback, I do have some really awesome goals for it. We want to do a mini tour at the end of the year. And so Nicole and I will be representing Latina Podcasters, and we're going to be going to New York, Chicago, LA, and we'll have one in Houston as well, obviously, because I'm here. And with this partnership that we're working with, that person will also be joining us here in Houston. So I'll be super excited to announce it as soon as everything's finalized. But if you guys want more information on other podcasters out there that are also Latinas that are sharing their voices with the world and the community, please feel free. Find us on Instagram. There are a whole bunch of women on there now. We do a great job of highlighting a podcaster of the week. And the reason I wanted to start that was because, if you're part of a community that's not being celebrated, it's up to you to be the person to celebrate your sister. Because you're only as big as the community that you help grow. So for me, I've always been lucky to find myself in environments that I might not have, that I shouldn't have been in, given my background and the way that I was raised. But I'm a fighter. And unfortunately, sometimes those traits aren't the best in every situation. But in these situations, being a fighter and creating a platform when there isn't one is the best way to go. Because like I said, over the last 2 months, I've been able to just connect with some amazing women. I mean, extraordinary women who are just out here doing extraordinary things, and they are my motivation, and they are my mentors, and they're pushing me to be better without even knowing it. But at the same time, I have to have realistic expectations. So if one thing or another doesn't happen, I'm not going to be super bummed. I am going to commit to, like I said, doing 2 podcast episodes a month in February. And I'm going to forgive myself if I just happen to forget one, but I'm going to try my best to get everything situated. I'm going to release and do probably 12 episodes at a time per season. So that way you guys get 12 episodes at the beginning of the year, maybe 12 in the end of the year, just to keep the momentum going. One last thing I want to talk about before I get off is, it doesn't matter what year it is, whether it's 2020, new year, new me, new this, new that. You don't have to wait for the turn of a year to start working on yourself. Sometimes working on yourself looks like getting up out of bed and brushing your teeth if you've had a really rough year. Sometimes working on yourself is realizing that you're a workaholic and that you need to take a step back and remove things from your schedule because they're not benefiting you. That was something I had to do literally as the change of the season, at the change of the year, and I'm still doing it. I don't know if you noticed, but my voice is a little raspy because I had the flu and then it turned into laryngitis, and I'm just getting my voice back. And I've been having one of my guests that I'm going to be recording, who's going to be the kickoff to February's relaunch. I've had her on hold since December trying to get an episode uploaded. Sorry. Because unrealistic expectations, right? I expected that I was going to be able to do it one day, and then I got sick, and then I had to push it back and push it back and push it back. And now it's January, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is a sign. Maybe it's a sign that I need to just kind of take a step back, relax for a second, release a mini episode, tell everybody what I've been up to, and then let them know that I'll be back in February with some really awesome stories. Funny enough, my next episode, the one that launches in February, is going to be about goal setting. I have this really awesome coach named Jessica who's going to come on, and she's going to talk about just some really cool, unique ways to do goal setting where, you're checking in with yourself. It's still self-awareness. You're not creating expectations that you can't reach, and you're forgiving yourself. And so she's going to go dive real deep into that and give us some really awesome tips on how to do that and how to stay on track with your goals. But seriously, you guys, if for some reason or another you're not hitting your mark, forgive yourself. Because sometimes we set these goals that we think we're just gonna smash through these goals, but we don't even have the momentum to go for a walk. We don't have the energy to cook dinner. We don't have the energy to get out of bed, to read a book. It's so funny sometimes when you remove things from your schedule, the things that come up. Oddly enough, I removed so much stuff from my schedule after the Ravens lost. Yes, I'm still bitter about it, but anyway. I still think they should have gone to the Super Bowl. But anyway, okay. So I realized, I looked at my schedule after that and I was like, wow, like I've had way too much time given to things that may not have actually benefited or suited me. So now it's time to relax. And so I read an entire book. I haven't read a book in like 3 months, which for me is kind of weird. But I read an entire book in one sitting just because I was like, wow, this, I miss reading. I miss reading books. I miss doing my podcast, which was, like I said, something that I realized I missed just laying on my couch with my dog and watching meaningless television, which I realized is a form of self-love and self-awareness for me. If I give myself at least 30 minutes a day to do that, it's just kind of like something that helps me wind down my day. I missed going for a long walk in my neighborhood with my dog because if you guys live in Houston, I live close to West U. Sorry, I live in West U. And these McMansions that are all around me are just gorgeous because each one of them is so unique. And so, anyway, like I said, I just wanted to check in with you guys, give you a little bit of my background, tell you a little bit about what's going on, and let you know that it's okay, even though it's a new year. Whether you're smashing goals every single day, or you're just getting started, or you just got on your Peloton and realized that your shoes don't fit, or, you went for a run and you could only get down the block. Who cares? As long as you are happy, that's all that matters. So give yourself a break. All right, y'all. I'm signing off. Remember to keep it positive or don't keep it at all. I'll be back in February. Don't miss me too much. All right, guys. Bye. Hey guys, it's Rita here with Empowerment and All That, thanking you for tuning in to another episode of your favorite podcast for female empowerment. Make sure to rate and subscribe this podcast to make it accessible to everyone else. And remember, keep it positive or don't keep it at all. Till the next time.